crypto warriors, changing our world day by day. The way of the crypto warriors, can't rely on the bankers, no way.
Hey guys, Bix Weir, roadrunner.com. A little under the weather today. If you noticed yesterday, I had a cough. I'm going to get my yearly flu in. I'm going to go get tested just for fun. I'm not worried about anything. Obviously, I'm high in vitamin D and chaga and you name it. Just to keep that in mind as I go through this, because it was going to be abbreviated, and then I found so much stuff going on. I posted last night the old, the U.S. Silver Manhattan Project, 2.7 billion ounces of physical silver came onto the market starting in the 90s. That's basically for newbies on the road to Ruta. You've never heard of that, go check it out. It'll blow your mind. It's over, what is that, like 16 years ago. I wrote that, and I have posted it. I discovered that in 2006, that the U.S. government secretly snuck all their available silver from their West Point vault into a magnet. They made magnets, they're called calutrons, to make the first atomic bomb back in the 40s. And then they kept that silver there. So we had silver certificates out there in the world that were unbacked by anything in the vault. And we didn't tell the world any of that. I have all the proof you need. And then in the 1990s, when Buffett was buying up all that silver, the U.S. government freaked out, shut down the facility, and that's the silver we've been living off for the past, 30 years or so. 25 years. So check that out. It's really interesting. I lay out all the proof, so nobody's ever come back and said, no, Bix, you got it wrong. Like they for some reason, they come to me about the gold in the Grand Canyon and say, Bix, you got it wrong. And I'm like, okay, have you looked at the proof? How much work have you actually done into looking into my evidence? Do you know why they built the steamship? What about the plane crash? I ask these people these questions. It's like, what are you talking about? So they're saying, I have no idea what I'm talking about gold in the Grand Canyon. And yet they have absolutely no clue other than they don't want it to be true. Jim Willie was the worst about that, but apparently he got over it and doesn't want to have a debate about it. I was ready to debate him at any moment in time, but he chose not to. Anyway, so yeah, I posted that. Go check it out. Evergrande bankruptcy this week. They have a payment due today. Good luck paying that payment. But the big day is going to come up Thursday. Thursday is when the 30-day grace period is up for I think it's 250 million default they had on the 28th of December. It's all happening, by the way. Even the stock market, since the 1-year anniversary of the Biden administration, something has changed. People are talking about the legal reasons for that. If you have a government that's taken over under the Geneva Convention, that the new government has to declare themselves within a year. And I haven't heard the Biden administration declare anything like they took over. So who knows? I don't know about that. I don't believe in all the global, the GFS, the NESRA, GESRA, all that. And it does take belief. So you're going to have to convince the entire world that the people who invented this did it, and everybody's going to accept it. Good luck with that. That ain't gonna happen. And it was never the plan, truthfully. The plan for the United States is for the people to decide. Now, if the people decide the XRP is the greatest thing since sliced bread, good luck with that. But hey, let's see what happens. I do believe it will be a combination. The United States will go back to its constitutional money, which is silver and gold. We have a hell of a lot of gold and very little silver. As in 10 times the amount they tell you. Jeffrey Christian lies every time he opens his mouth about the amount of gold available. So does the World Gold Council and all that bullshit. Those are the bankers' mouthpieces telling you what you're supposed to believe. I advise everybody to do your own homework. Look into Chocolate Mountain in California. Look into the Grand Canyon gold, all my evidence there. Look into Anwar, what's in Alaska. I mean, they even have television shows of people pulling gold out, every scoopful of sand's full of gold up there in Alaska, and yet, for some reason, people think gold is scarce. I just don't get it, but it is what it is. 42% of California is owned by the federal government. especially the gold-rich areas down by Chocolate Mountain. So keep that in mind. California would never secede from the Union because they'd have to go to war with the U.S. government, the federal government, which controls the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, and truthfully, with California National Guard, maybe a couple pea shooters. No offense to the National Guard. But, I don't see anybody sticking their neck out for the Democrats and the controllers of the Democrats, the deep state, Gavin Newsom and his friends. We've been brainwashed in California, but just so far you can take that. All right, so here's Bitcoin surges $3,000 off the lows as rate hikes, odds tumble. Remember, anytime there's a move in any market, the gold market, the silver market, the crypto market, the bond market, the stock market, there has to be a reason. That reason can't be, Janet Yellen went down to the basement of the U.S. Treasury where there's a trading floor and said, hey, I want you to stick the price of the stock market here, the bond market here, the U.S. dollar here, and put the price of, we'll allow the price of Bitcoin to go up a little, silver, keep it down. Okay, talk to you tomorrow. It actually happens months in advance. So this has been planned out for months. And then they go through their prime dealers in New York through the Federal Reserve New York branch. That's a game. And they can place the price of Bitcoin at negative $30, negative $40 like they did to oil, or they can place it at $1 million. When you have rigged markets, and they are rigged, they are 100% rigged. They're not just kind of rigged. And they go where the government wants them to go. Now, you might ask, well, why do the government want, this deep state government want the price of the stock market to go down? To justify not raising rates. Because they know if they raise rates any substantial amount, it's the end of the game. Because the U.S. government can't afford to pay the interest on the raised rates. That's how the end game happens. It's a mess. So there is no intention to pay off the debt. There is no intention to pay off the deficit. There is no intention to raise rates significantly. This is the end game. The end game is print money to infinity, soaking up all the benefits of unbacked fiat money, build your roads, your bridges, your houses, and then implode it to infinity, like Ruta wrote in the sand, ultimately sending us back to a gold and silver standard, which is more discipline. And Bitcoin will be involved. Or versions of Bitcoin. I don't know. Right now, anything's up in the air. As far as silver, they're still defending the 200-day moving average. You can tell it got right there. We were right there, 2460. And then they slammed it down. Now the 200-day moving average has dropped to 2458 because they kept the price lower, and you get your 24-day moving average coming down, 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 down. Really interesting. This is amateur hour, I think. B of A is the short. Now, we don't know if Bank of America will be taking their losses from their silver short. Let's say Ted Butler's right, and they have 800 million ounces that they borrowed from JP Morgan. It could be that they already gave JP Morgan the money for that. They could have paid for it outright. They could, then they wouldn't have a derivative as on the OCC. More likely, they said, hey, we're going to take a hit over here in silver, but we'll make it up because you're going to let us go long in oil, so we'll have net zero. And then companies like Virtu Financial, the high-frequency trading company that underlies all these moves, run by Vinny Viola, will make sure that happens, throwing millions of derivatives in every which way to disguise it. Welcome to America. All right, I do want to talk about cryptos. Has Bitcoin bottomed? I don't know. I'm not a short-term Bitcoin holder. I know the cryptos I like. I'm in them for the long term because they are the future. They're not the past. And yeah, I hope so. A lot of the newbies are freaking out. Try to live through a crash of Bitcoin from 1,200 down to 200 when nobody knew what Bitcoin was and everybody calling you an idiot for being a hodler. Hodlers win in the end. If you think cryptos are going to be for our future, absolutely. Why would you even want US dollars? You should be counting your money in Litecoin and Theta and Theta Fuel and very soon T-Drop. I'm excited about that. And VERITASEUM. Oh, by the way, I I discussed VERITASEUM a little bit yesterday and it took a jump. I don't know if those are Roto-Rooter members. I mean, VERITASEUM jumped 50%. That's nothing. The key to VERITASEUM, the markets are so tiny. That was like $100,000 was spent on VERITASEUM, and it jumped 40%. Try to buy $1 billion worth of VERITASEUM and see what the price jumps to, right? So yeah, I do want to talk briefly about this. So Heidi from Crypto Tips, long-term OG on cryptos, has been doing YouTube since I started YouTube. Almost all her content is crypto based, kind of superficial level because she's not a finance person. She didn't grow up in banking. She doesn't understand banking, but she kind of understands the other side, how crypto can affect the monetary system. But she just cannot do a deep dive because she's not trained in it. She doesn't know it, but she's open. She posted this, can Reggie Middleton take down DeFi? And I listened to it and I said, oh my God, she's missing everything. And I was going to comment on it, but I didn't think it was that important. And a lot of people said, because she's got a lot of followers, 144,000. And I like her. I get some good YouTube crypto tips off her. But this one was kind of embarrassing for her, truthfully, because she doesn't understand finance. And so she didn't understand, that term DeFi. Decentralized finance. There's no DeFi companies on the planet, by the way. Everything to a point is centralized, and she doesn't get it. And most of them are owned. Actually, most of them are owned by Digital Currency Group. Yeah, Digital Currency Group controls the Bitcoin core devs. They control. Who are they? Yes, they. Let's go to who are we? Look at all you have to do is go to the very last person, Larry Summers. Yes, the same Larry Summers. Who created, what was it called? The if you build it, they will come type of Treasury Secretary information. I forgot the name of it. He taught it at Harvard, and yeah, he's Epstein friend, deep stater. But yeah, he if you're looking for deep state within cryptos, look at Digital Currency Group. Look no further. But Reggie Middleton's patent would absolutely throw all their financing of all these crypto companies into havoc. And that's why I believe Larry Summers and friends are the ones who told the SEC what to do on taking down Reggie Middleton. But to Heidi's credit, she came back a week later with this. Reggie Middleton explains the DeFi patent. And Reggie walks her very slowly through what his patent was all about, what is peer-to-peer, his peer-to-peer invention, peer-to-peer transactions, take JP Morgan out of the middle of them. And I think by the end, she kind of gets it. She doesn't like it because, she thinks in a different world than finance people. But he explained it, hey, as far as property rights, this is intellectual property and there's physical property. There's all kinds of property. And Reggie's like, well, you wouldn't let someone come squat in the house that you own. And she's like, no, of course not. And he said, why would I let someone squat on my intellectual property? And what is that intellectual property? He does a great job of explaining it. So go check that out. The big thing I would say Heidi really screwed up on is she didn't read the patent. I mean, if you're going to have a debate with someone, it wasn't really a debate, but if you want some clarification, at least do a little bit of homework. And she said, well, no, I'm not a patent lawyer. That's no reason not to read the patent. You read the patent, yeah, there are some technical terms, but most of it is examples. Here's how this applies to cryptos. And it's very simple to understand what Reggie had invented. Peer-to-peer capital transactions back in 2013, long before Ethereum and everybody else. And the big thing to me that Reggie still needs to explain better, although he's said it a few times, is that if the SEC didn't come down on Reggie specifically, and they did, they came down extremely harshly. Was it race related? I'm the last person to say that, but I'm the first person to say that yes, that was part of it, because I read the indictment of Reggie from the SEC, and there were things in there that was all about race and how he expresses himself. And I'm like, what does that have to do with the law? And it really pissed me off that the SEC did what they did. But then again, I'm used to SEC criminality. We saw that when they tamped down the silver price back in January and February of last year. So, but that's the big thing, is Reggie needs to tell the world and show the world, hey, this is not my fault that I'm coming in now that I have a patent years later. 10 years later, he gets the patent. He was working with the SEC. The Jamaican Stock Exchange was about to implement VERITASEUM to show the world what it could do. The SEC ran interference behind Reggie's back. They wouldn't even have known about it unless Reggie was working with them. But the SEC went into Jamaican Stock Exchange and said, don't you dare, we'll bomb you. I didn't think they'll say they'll bomb you, but they said, stay away from Reggie Middleton. He's a criminal, a crook. And that carried over to the idiots in crypto who just really aren't there are people who aren't very smart in cryptocurrencies when it comes to the finance side of things or intellectual property. Being a singer-songwriter, I know all about intellectual property. If someone stole the Litecoin is the right coin song without my permission, yes, I'd go after them. If someone moved into Heidi's house with her family and kicked their feet up on the table and said, I'm here, what are you going to do about it? Of course she'll have a problem with that. If Reggie invents something before anybody else invented it and gets a copyright on it, and had the SEC not stopped him, everybody would be using Reggie's technology in the DeFi world, and it would have been a much more wonderful place. And it would have taken place 5-6 years before it is now. DeFi would have been popular back when Reggie invented it. In 2014, 2015, DeFi would have been the number one thing. Instead, it took another 5 or 6 years because of what the SEC did. It's not Reggie's fault. It is the SEC's fault. Going forward, Reggie wants to work with people. Here's my advice to Reggie. Reggie, tell everybody the first people that work with you, the first entities that work with you are going to get the best deal. And every deal that you do after that deal is going to be worse. Will be a little more expensive for them. So get the first ones on board and then say, hey, that's what I told everybody. How many people, when that first deal gets signed, how many people are going to come running to you to get the next deal because they know that if they wait longer, it's going to be more expensive. That's my take. And oh, by the way, SEC, would you give Reggie his tokens back and stop being frickin' idiots? Gary Gensler, I'm talking to you. I know you watch my show every day. Give Reggie his 98 million tokens back. Let him do what he was going to do before the deep state and you and your friends came in and shut him down at the SEC. It's that simple. I don't know where VERITASEUM will be valued. Right now, there's only 2 million tokens available because the Securities and Exchange Commission has locked up Reggie's tokens for no apparent reason. No apparent reason. No reason at all. I mean, look what EOS gets off paying I think it was a 0.004% fine, and Reggie pays a 98% fine. Where is the truth, justice, and the American way in that bullshit? Gary, you know what to do. Give Reggie his tokens back right away and let him implement and save our planet from the criminals like JP Morgan, the COMEX. This solves all that. No more rehypothecation of assets. No more high-frequency trading. Peer-to-peer transactions. Cut out the middleman. Cheaper, better, more honest way of doing business. That's what Heidi should be holding the flag up for Reggie for. And I think she was coming around. I think she understood a lot more after this interview. And hopefully the entire crypto world will understand what Reggie was doing and how the world can absolutely benefit off peer-to-peer transactions that Reggie invented. So there we are. How's that? Make sure you check out the Cliff High interview. Cliff High, The Fate of Silver and Humanity at roadtorudo.com. This is free for everybody. Sign up for updates, name and email address, And then on the private road, there's an outtake. Well, after we hung up, we talked for another 5 or 6 minutes about the bad guy's next maneuver. Really interesting stuff on the private road. Go to the private road at Road to Ruta, and we will send you 50 T-Fuel tokens for signing up for a 1-year subscription. Also, the road show is getting hot and heavy. We are adding dates and the places. All the dates are set in stone. The actual venues are being booked. By the end of this week, we're going to have them all up there. So go check it out. And if you're flying in from out of town, get a hotel somewhere near they're pretty much any town you're going to have to, get a hotel near the event, which would be great. First show is on March 5th in Sonoma, California. And I think we already have the place up. So if you buy a ticket, you go to the Freedom Road Show. There you go. That's where you buy the tickets. It'll be at a place called The Real and Brand at 401 Grove Street in Sonoma from 2 o'clock to 6 o'clock in the afternoon. We're going to hang out. We're going to talk freedom, cryptos, silver. We're going to play music, and friends will be there. A lot of family will be in Northern California, so meet some of my family. And yeah, $25 for a ticket, pre-ordered, and then $40 at the door. And boy, will you have fun. It's a hoot. It's a hootenanny. Anyway, that's what's going on the road to Ruta. Again, check out the private road, the bad guy's next attack that Cliff High and I talk about. And it's a doozy. These mother pluckers aren't going to get away with it. So says Bitcoin Bid. This is Bix. I'll talk to you later.
Hey, Charlie's here. Thank you, Charlie, for coming. We're big fans of your coin.
Can you sing? No.
So, by the way, Charlie, we wrote a song for your coin and what we think is going to happen to it. I don't know if it will happen, but I'm really excited about it. It's called Litecoin is the right coin. And I know you believe that, right? Okay. So, your name is used in the song. Have you ever been in the song? You're going to like it. It's fun. Are you guys ready? Well, first of all, look at all these crazy people, right? How many people like Litecoin? How many people are happy that many years ago Charlie was sitting at his computer and said, hey, I'm going to make a clone of Bitcoin, but it's got to be faster, it's got to be cheaper, it's got to be better. I'm going to make it the silver of Bitcoin's gold. Thank you for that. That was a good moment. That was a great moment. So this is our tribute to Litecoin and to you people, you lovely crazy people. Ready? We're gonna go fast or slow? We got drums.
It's your song.
Like I'm ready. No. Are you wondering what to do? Where to put your money down? Grow the most of you, well they grow you all these choices. Afraid you're gonna lose. I told you gonna platform, you know you gotta choose. With the bank is out to get you, the commas over the range. Litecoin is the right one as a means of exchange. Well, Charlie is the man, the one that you can trust. The nicest guy in cryptos, now that's a must. When he sold all his Litecoin, donation to the cause. Still works his ass off, fixing all the flaws. You see, Charlie has a plan, and bankers can't exchange. Litecoin is the right one as a means of exchange. Litecoin is the right one as a means of exchange. If you'll buy a cup of coffee, when Lightning is arranged, my bank is on my cell phone. I can walk in any store. I scan the code, I'm behind the load, I'm walking out the door, and every crypto has a purpose. There's things about to change. Litecoin is the right one. Swing you down slow. Too many confirmations, but did the core depth know? Roger's Bitcoin Cash can really scale and grow. And she always scares me till we can pick the whole damn show. But we gotta use some. Everything's about to change. your fish.